Hi guys. So I know this isn't the normal type of content I make. Like you're probably like, haha, funny, silly, yada yada yada, right? But I wanted to open up an avenue for you guys. Just like if you ever had like questions or shit just you wanted answered, or you just need like general advice that you could ask me in some way, and have it answered. And I thought this might be a good opportunity for me to maybe like make some sort of video for you guys. So it's something you have something to watch, and it's not like my other type of content where it's super fast paced, super loud. So I'm gonna try and be a bit more relaxed. So I have, if you're curious about where like how to get in contact with me, if you have questions or stuff, there I have the email pinned in my Discord server, which if you want to go check out, that'd be really super cool. I'd super duper appreciate that. Yeah, it's linked in my Discord server in Warren Info. And I'm going to get into, I have two questions for today. And so while I'm working on answering these questions, I'm going to be attempting to finish building this model. I started this, oh fuck, no, part of this, my bad. I mean, oh, did it break? What the fuck? No, it didn't break. Okay, good. So I had started this model a while ago, right? And I never actually finished it, so that's going to be somewhat of the goal for today. All right. So, one thing that like always really like I don't know if this is like a hold on, let me make this lighting a bit better so you guys can see me a bit better. Well, obviously you're not going to be able to see me, but you know what I mean, right? Yeah. This is just an avenue for you guys to ask me questions and shit because like it's you don't there isn't always going to be a person like it's sometimes having someone who's like gonna be able to like constantly be like giving you advice and stuff. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be something that you're going to always have, which is it's a really tricky thing as well for me with dealing with it and like oh shit, like eventually I'm going to have to do that. But okay. So enough of me blabbing. Let's get on to the first question. So the first question is, hey boss man, do you have any tips on keeping yourself from getting overwhelmed with class schedules? Like how to pick out class overwhelming scheduling. So I may not necessarily I so okay. A good way for me to explain this is when I look at a lot of schedules, I do find myself like sometimes getting overwhelmed, right? Like I do feel like it's kind of hard for me to keep on track, to be able to do what I need to do in a timely fashion. It's just not something that I'm good at, right? But one thing that I found that has started really working for me at least is um I will actually kind of plan out what I'm doing in a day beforehand. Like I'll think to myself like, okay, so today is let's say today's Monday. Tomorrow's Monday. I have a lab class and stuff. So that's what I have to do. So I'm thinking to myself, E20 and 9E54s. I'm like, okay, so for today's class, I'm gonna prepare myself a little bit because a lot of times there you get a lot of anxiety that comes with uncertainty because you're like, well, I'm kind of just nervous. Like, what do I do? And it can be really hard, right? Like, I know how hard that can be when you're worrying yourself over something like, oh shit, like, am I gonna be prepared? Do I have everything I need? Like, what am I gonna do? So, I apologize if this is me rambling. What I would really recommend doing that I think could help a lot is kind of planning out what you're gonna do beforehand. Like, I thinking to yourself like, okay, so if my lab's at 5, right? My last class before that is going to be at, let's say, ending at 2 in my example. I like to block out my time so I have like comfortable windows where it's like, this is when I should leave. This is the amount of time I have for free time. Like this is a time where it's like if I need to get work done for that class, I can do it here and I'll still get it done on time. And that's really helped me personally because like I said, I do get a lot of anxiety in relation to like class stuff. So I usually do that. Though it can really depend on the person, right? Like each person has their own way with coping with like stress and different stress mechanisms, right? So what I would recommend is kind of just planning out your day as you go, using your past experience throughout your day to kind of create a model for what could possibly work for you in the future, right? And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. given, and then just kind of just seeing what works and what doesn't and adjusting that way. Yeah, it's a really good question. That was the first question I've answered, and I have one more for this video, and this one's gonna be a bit of a longer one, but I am gonna try and answer this the best way I can. Hey Warren, I'll leave it up to you. This seems a bit serious a topic, but I just wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on social anxiety? Do you have advice others like me with it? Wishing you well. Okay, so believe it or not, guys, I do have social anxiety as well. Although I know I don't really show it that often, it was like really, really bad last year where I would just not like commune with anyone online or like in person. I was just terrified of talking to people because I was like, oh my God, if I talk to them, they're going to hate me, right? And so, what really, really like, and it really hurt because you feel like you're getting so separated from everyone else. Like, everyone's out here living like their ideal lives. It's like, in my example, it was I was really worried because it's like college, right? Your college year is supposed to be super fun. You're supposed to be going out. You're supposed to be doing all this stuff, and I just wasn't. I was staying in. I mean, I do still kind of do this, but I've gotten better. Where it's not necessarily if it was if I was afraid of like stuff happening, and I know people like everyone was has social anxiety. Their social anxiety is different. For not everyone, it's a fear of like things happening or talking to people. It could just be like a fear of being put in bad situations, a fear of like just like losing that sense of familiarity that you possess when you're at somewhere you're comfortable with. And one thing that kind of forced me to do it is so for context, for those of you who know, this isn't my first like channel, right? Like specifically with TikTok, right? I have done I have had channels other than this. I've tried content creation a lot in the past. I've never just really gone full force with it because I never really thought I had what it take to be a streamer, much less like, at least albeit I do wear a mask, but like showing my face on stream, wearing a face cam, and wearing a face mask incorporated with a face cam, right? So that was always a big like issue for me. I was like, this is something I've always wanted to pursue. I don't know if I'll be able to do it though because of these issues I have, and it was really challenging. It really hurt, right? To see the stream that you've had and then always worrying, being like, I'm not going to be good enough. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to reach that. And that was something I really struggled with. And it was something I'd always seen for ages growing up. My first job when I was growing up at 16 years old, which is I say growing up, but that was 3 years ago. Whatever. I'm almost 20 anyway. But I was working at an Italian restaurant as my first job, which was questionably legal. Um, with E37 and E36. I was like, I was a bit wary. I should have been a bit more wary, but it was an interesting first job. I never really worked in that kind of environment where it's just more fast paced, like you have to get things done and everything. And I was like, it was a bit scary for me, especially because you have to interact with so many people. I was a chef, so I didn't interact with like people in the context of you would normally have like a server, but I still had like the anxiety of like, oh my God, this person sent back their food. I messed something up. Like trying to keep these orders going. It really freaks me out. And it was something I struggled with a lot. Like I would cope by like listening to like podcasts or stuff that I knew was familiar, like stuff that I found comfort in while I was working. And that really helped a lot with the anxiety I had during that job. Because a lot of times when you're in an environment where you feel like completely out of place, like you're like, oh, I should not be here. This is not where I belong. Like, let's say if you're thinking it's like, oh, there's no way I'd be able to do this. Everyone else is like, everyone else is way better at this. They're way smarter. They're way cooler, like faster, stronger, whatever the case is, right? Try and bring some aspect of yourself. Like, think to yourself, identify some aspect of you that makes you you, right? Like everyone has their own defining aspect that makes them unique. And I'm like, yeah, everyone's like a snowflake. They're all unique. Nah. I more so want to talk about I think everyone has something about them that makes them more unique. Like everyone has something that no one else has, right? Like something that only you have. And it can take a long time to find that aspect, right? It's not going to be simple. It's not going to be overnight. But that's something that so what I found is I'm able to relate to people really well. I do pretty well with like empathy and stuff like that, which people have always said it's like, wow, it's really easy talking to you and stuff like that. And that was something that I found to be my like one of my talents, is being able to like connect with people better. And I've kind of brought that. It's like, this is something I'm good at. I can use this in a way that wait, did I put it on backwards. But it's something that I was like, oh, okay, so I'm good at this, right? Oh, please don't break. But since that was like my thing, right? It didn't break, let's go. I kind of just like worked with that. I use that in my daily life when I'm like looking at different things. I'm like, okay, so I have to give a speech, right? How can I use like my skills, that my things that I'm good at in this speech? How could I, or when I'm looking at like content stuff, like what type of content could I make that I could use my own skills in? And that's where it's like the idea for this came from. It was like being able to talk to you guys is something that I've always wanted to do. I never really had a way to do it. One of my friends, Circuit, he had mentioned he has a channel called Circuit's Mailbox, where he does very similar type of content. This is inspired by. I would like to clarify that I'm not copying. I'm just very heavily inspired. But where he kind of answers questions that his fans ask him, and I was like, wow, I never really thought of that. That's something I've always wanted to do. That sounds like really cool, and so I wanted to give it a try. And that's really helped, is by finding like my unique thing, right? It really helped me feel a lot less anxious, because I know I have something that people don't, or it's not as common. Like I have something that makes me strong, like something that makes me special. Because like I said, everyone has something like that, dude. There is no one who doesn't have it. Everyone has something that makes them unique. You just have to find it. Another tip that I would really recommend for dealing with social anxiety specifically is it's gonna suck, and I know it's gonna suck, but you need to kind of try exposure therapy. Like I know, trust me, I hated it as well. But unironically, exposure therapy does wonders. Just putting yourself out there. You have to sometimes prove to yourself that the world isn't as scary as you think it is. And I know that in and of itself can be one of, if not the scariest things that you could possibly do. But trust me, you got it, right? Building up that self confidence that you need is the thing I feel a lot of people struggle with. Whereas with the social anxiety, you're like thinking to yourself, oh, there's never going to be a point where I'm going to have that level of, uh-huh. Oh, because that's two different pieces. I was really confused. You're thinking to yourself, there's never going to be a point in my life where I'm going to have that amount of confidence in my body, my appearance, my voice, or any of these aspects of yourself that you've defined as being important, that you're never going to be able to like achieve something that will make you unique. And I feel like that can be really hard, but by putting yourself out there, you can prove to yourself that the world is never as scary as you think it is. Because this idea of thinking that everyone and everything's out to get you can hurt you so badly. And I know firsthand that I had convinced myself that everything was going to go badly. Like I used to convince myself that if someone didn't reply to me for like a certain period of time, oh, they hated me, or I had done something wrong. Like I was so convinced that I had messed everything up. And I was like, and I hated it, right? Like I hated being stuck in that constant mindset of just worrying, then like, oh no, did I do something wrong? Like what's going on? Like what's up? And it really hurt me a lot as a person, because when you get yourself stuck in that mindset, right? It's so hard to get out of. because you don't know if you're going to make it out. You don't know if you're going to be able to improve. And I feel like a lot of the times it's this also fear of the future, right? That presents itself. Like a fear of consequences more so. Being like, well, if I mess up this interaction with this person, what if they hate me? What if they decide they don't want to be like my friend? What if they think I'm annoying? What if they think I'm weird? Like that fear is so ever present that it can really hurt you. And I know how much it hurts. But I know I didn't really get much done, but I wanted to get at least something done in this video. And so what I got done in today's video is I made this little thing for the trolley. And oh, well, look, it's like a little train track. Isn't that so cute? Oh, it's not focusing. You can kind of see it. I made little train tracks. This fear of losing yourself kind of, because like everyone experiences fear differently, right? Your fear is not going to be uniform. Everyone will experience life differently. There's no unique way, not unique, but like the opposite of unique, actually. There's no standard way to experience your life. Can this? There's no way, like, you can't have some way that you expect your life is going to go, right? Because your life's going to be different. You're not, no one will live the same life as you. No matter how many people ever pass on this earth, no one will live the same life as you. Which is why you can't base your assumptions of like how interactions are going to go based off how you see them go for other people. Because everyone lives their own life. Everyone has their own experiences. It's impossible to have the same person exist 2 times. And it's really, and it's like, it's so hard to realize that. And trust me, I know it's hard to realize that. But once you begin to like kind of work your brain around it, can I please get this in? You're going to feel so much better. Trust me. These little strides of confidence that you make every day with your successes and your goals really are going to help you so much in your future. And I know you can do it because you got this, right? Oh wow, my thumb up looks weird. You no wait. You got this. I believe in you. You're confident, strong, funny, smart. You guys, all of you are, right? Everyone is special. Like you have your thing. I know everyone has something. You just need to find what makes you unique. And that can take as long as you need. And honestly, you don't even need that. Put yourself out there, experience life, and you'll see the world is not as scary as you think it is. All right. Love all you guys. Bye. Stay safe, drink water, make sure to get rest, and do your homework.